Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for coming. My name is John Murphy. I'm the United States Attorney for West Houston, Texas. I'm joined here today by the Special Agent in charge of the El Paso Office and Field Division of the FBI, David Cuthbertson, if you come up, David. Also joining us today is Deborah Kanoff, an Assistant United States Attorney, and some members of Mr. Cuthbertson's staff. Is Assistant Special Agent in charge, Jay Abbott, is Media Advisor Mark Martinez, and the squad supervisor for the Public Corruption Squad, Sergio Galvan. We are here to announce the unsealing of an indictment in the United States District Court for Western District, Texas, of an indictment, a 7-count indictment charging 11 defendants with various charges. The first count of the indictment charges violation of the RICO statute, that is racketeer influence and corrupt organization. In that count, it's alleged that there was a conspiracy to violate the RICO statute through a pattern series of racketeering acts, and that the enterprise which was corrupted through this practice was Access, which at the time was times relevant to the indictment, was a third-party administrator for a number of healthcare plans for what at the time was the majority of the El Paso school districts, as well as the county of El Paso and perhaps El Paso Community College. The scheme essentially was that the president, chief operating officer of Access, together with a political consultant and a couple of attorneys, engaged in a pattern of attempting to bribe and bribing officials of the county of El Paso and El Paso County Commissioner, as well as trustees of 3 independent school districts: the El Paso Independent School District, the Isleta Independent School District, and the Socorro Independent School District. Through this pattern of racketeering, the object of the conspiracy was to secure new or renewals of contracts for Access to be third-party administrators for the health benefit plans for the employees of those school districts or for the county of El Paso. The indictment includes 6 charges having to do specifically with mail fraud. There are 3 conspiracy counts to commit mail fraud and 2 substantive counts to commit mail fraud. And you all have copies of the indictment, and each count alleges specifically that certain individuals were involved in those particular schemes to bribe certain individuals in order to obtain the contracts for Access. Count 7 of the indictment also alleges that part of the scheme was to obtain a legal services contract from the Isleta Independent School District for a law firm in the El Paso area. All 11 defendants have surrendered to the FBI. They are set for initial appearances within the hour at the courthouse, and we have provided each of them with the indictment. They will be provided with copies of the indictments, which were unsealed about noon today. We are here today because it is important to the citizens of El Paso to have the honest services of their public servants. Public servants have a special trust, and it is their obligation to represent the interests of the citizens. They represent not their own personal interests. When they cross the line and start looking for personal profit, personal gain, they are no longer serving the interests of the citizens who elected them to serve. They are accepting bribes, gifts, or other forms of payment in an improper manner. The United States government will investigate such activities. We have historically. We are in a position to do so because we have the resources that often cities or counties do not have to investigate these cases. As many of you know, the case has been under investigation now for almost 6 years. It involved 3 wiretaps at least, thousands of hours of recorded conversations, as well as a massive amount of computerized, digitized information that the FBI has the resources, the talent, the ability to examine, analyze, and present to our office in a manner in which we can work with the Bureau in coming up with the evidence to support the charges. We, at this time, of course, do not have a trial date. You are probably aware that there are other cases which have been indicted as a result of this investigation. This is the 7th indictment returned as part of this investigation. A couple of those have been resolved. The remainder are pending trial. As in the course of the investigation, there were also 12 informations filed. And information is a charge brought only by the United States Attorney. It is not presented to a grand jury. And in general, and in these cases, it is a result of an agreement reached between the United States Attorney's Office and the defendants through their counsel. And thus far, there have been 12 individuals who have entered pleas and guilty to charges related to this scheme that form the basis of our investigation. It is anticipated that all 12 of these people will be cooperating with the United States and will be called as witnesses in any future trials. We will entertain your questions after SAC Conference1 gives you a briefing on the perspective of the Bureau. David.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for taking the time today to attend this press conference. I'd like to thank United States Attorney John Murphy for hosting this event and for the diligent work of his prosecutors, which have made possible the charges which were unsealed today. The indictment being made public today is the result of a 6-year-long investigation conducted by the FBI in conjunction with the United States Attorney's Office in El Paso, Texas. It was dubbed Operation Poisoned Ponds because it involved the manipulation of publicly elected officials by certain individuals associated with Access Health Source Incorporated, which we will refer to hereafter simply as Access. The indictment alleges that 9 of the defendants and others not charged in this indictment conspired to conduct the affairs of Access, a Texas registered corporation formed in about 1997 through a pattern of racketeering activity. It is further alleged that the purpose of this racketeering activity was to corruptly obtain contracts with local government entities to include the County of El Paso Independent School District, Isleta Independent School District, and Socorro Independent School District. It is alleged in the indictment that through a series of racketeering activities to include mail fraud, wire fraud, deprivation of honest services, and bribery, Access corruptly obtained the healthcare services contracts for the above-mentioned governmental entities worth millions of dollars. These contracts were obtained with bribes for as little as less than $1,000, and for some bribes that were many thousands of dollars. Through this racketeering activity and the schemes and bribes which made it possible, the taxpayers of El Paso were deprived of their right to have taxpayer dollars spent in the acquisition of the best possible services for public employees at the lowest possible price. Legitimate vendors for these services were also deprived of their right to compete for government business in a fair and transparent manner. This indictment signals a culmination